You know, I remember seeing television shows coming up, and not only were there very few characters of size, when there was a character of size, they were always portrayed as being like absolutely obsessed with food. They were the person that nobody really found pretty, nobody really, paid that much attention to. They were the butt of the joke. They were very clumsy. But I was into all sorts of things that didn't agree with the narrative that I saw about obesity, and yet I still believed it in my heart. The problem with weight bias is that it's not doing anything to improve the obesity epidemic. It's not motivating people to lose weight. It's not putting people in a position where they have any help to meaningfully change. It's really just making people feel bad. And why do we want to keep doing that?
Okay. Well, welcome back from lunch. That was delicious. Thank you to whoever provided that. So you get more of me, aren't you excited? This is a good day. I have the complete honor of sharing a conversation with patients, which is what I do all day, every day in my real life. A little feedback, we okay? And so I'm gonna start, before I ask the panelists to share their information, I'm actually going to start by asking you in the audience to do something for me. Now, not everyone who lives with obesity feels shame, but I've been in practice almost 20 years, and the percentage is high. So I want to ask you in the audience to take a moment and imagine that you are sitting in front of 250 strangers, about to open up about the thing you feel the most embarrassed about, ashamed of. Things that you hide from even your spouse. And imagine that you're about to tell your story to an audience. So I want you to sit with that for a moment as we ask these amazing panelists to share their journey with recognition that this is a hard job that they're about to do. So with that, I'll ask you each to just introduce yourselves briefly and share a little bit about your story related to obesity, including the treatments that you've tried. Kelly?
Hello, my name is Kelly Roby. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, transplanted to Indiana. I was always fighting with my weight from a very early age. I always had a little bit of extra weight. I was always a little bit of the chubby girl. And growing up, you get into a group of friends where maybe you're all the chubby girls and you're always talking about what can we do to lose weight? What can we do to be skinny? What can we do to fit in this pair of jeans? Especially back in the 80s, which is when I really grew up. Over the years, I had tried every diet you can imagine. Weight Watchers, keto, any sort of supplement, special diets for blood pressure, you name it, I tried it. And sometimes they would work and sometimes I could keep my weight down, but then it would creep back up, and just it's been a lifelong struggle. But today I feel very lucky that I have found some things that have really helped me.
Thanks, Kelly.
My name is Brad Voorhies. I'm born and raised in Indianapolis. Live in a little town most of you probably know of, about the 500, called Speedway, Indiana. I've grown up, struggling with obesity pretty much my entire life. It's been a struggle. Y'all watch that movie Sandlot? Hamilton, Ham on Sandlot. I was always that kid, in the back of the pack, running around, trying to keep up with my friends, and it's been a struggle. That's was the hardest times in my life that I'd gone through, and I'm 56 years old today, and I'm probably healthier today and more active and getting out and doing more things that I ever had before because of the struggles that I've been through. everything from a near-death experience twice because of my weight and my diabetes to you name it. And I'm happy to be able at 56 years old to come out and start sharing my story with other folks. And I'm fortunate where I do have a pulpit in my regular job where I can speak to crowds of people and different folks about my struggles that I've had with weight, diabetes, heart disease, and everything, and hope that I can maybe prevent that with others, obviously with the help of all of you in this room.
Well, first of all, thank you, Robyn, for making it so comfortable to start this off today. I'm Brad Gillum. I'm from here in central Indiana. Live in Carmel. I have always been the Husky kid. Husky, that's a fun word, isn't it? So I grew up Husky, and Husky continued to grow on me. And I continued to add weight, and I've added weight all of my life. I added weight to the point that I finally had to do something about it. I was at my max of 336.6 pounds. And I knew at that point I really needed to do something about it. It was a point in my life that I lost my father in 2021. It was 20 years. He was obese. He had a massive stroke, and we lost him. He was pre-diabetic. I was quickly approaching the age of 60 at that point. I am now 60. I knew that I wanted to live a lot longer than the age of 63. So it was time for me to do something about it. So I kind of made some decisions at that point to change some lifestyles. I've been on every diet that you can think of. I've at one point had done keto and Weight Watchers and done every cleanse that you can think of and tossed everything into the blender from pineapple and apple juice and vinegar and you name it to try to find some magic solution that was going to work for me, but there was no magic solution that ever worked for me. So I was very cognizant of my weight and tried anything and everything that I possibly could to try to lose weight, but every time I went back for my annual physical, it seemed that somehow I found a way to add another 5 or 7 pounds every year to my weight. So it continued to increase. And that XL went to a 2XL to a 3XL. And I had no intention for it to happen, but it just continued to happen to the point that I did need to do something about it.
So I'm sure each of you has faced moments like that, this moment of, I need to do something about this. But I'm sure that you faced that many times in your life. So what's different for you now? What is it, the treatment that's available? Is it the doctor that you saw? What's different this time? Brad, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. I had a doctor that, family physician that Redux, you probably remember Redux, it was popular back in the early 90s that I was prescribed and magically lost 30 or 35 pounds. It was this magic drug for me, but it was taken off of the market, was causing heart problems. I didn't have any problems with it, but it worked wonders for me. And I thought, wow, this is a magic pill, and it was working great. That was the first time in my life that I realized that there were pharmaceuticals that could help me to lose weight. And I had a physician at that time who was wonderful about helping to prescribe something that could help me to lose weight, that could jumpstart this weight loss journey. Fast forward, after I got married and got into the practice of seeing an internal medicine specialist, I would go see him every year, and it was the same. The first comments he would make to me would be, gosh, you've added weight, and you really need to do something about that.
Like you didn't know.
What the hell? Of course I knew that. What do I need to do? And it was always the same thing. It was, you need to cut your calories, you need to move more, you need to exercise. Have you thought about Weight Watchers? I'm like, yeah, well, is there anything else you can do for me? Are are there any pharmaceuticals that you could perhaps help get me a jump start? I've tried everything. I said, no, you really just, how about we, get a nutritionalist or a dietitian? Would you talk to someone? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to someone, but I know what I'm supposed to eat. I eat healthy now. So there was never really any help that he was providing me. Until one year, 2021, I went in to see my doctor for annual physical, and he wasn't available, so I saw the nurse practitioner. And it was the same situation, and I asked her, I said, so is there anything that you can do to help me? And she said, sure. Would you mind seeing a bariatric specialist? I was like, I don't want to see a bariatric specialist. I'm not having surgery. And she said, good, I'm going to refer you to someone who doesn't really do surgery. She doesn't really believe in surgery. I was like, what? So I went to see someone, and she introduced me to who is now probably one of my best champions. Wow. Met with her, and she set me on my journey, and probably the best thing that's ever happened in my life.
Changed your life,
Yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I think for me, I had a double whammy where I always struggled with my weight, and then starting in my 40s, I was hit hard with the menopause monster. And I know this is an unpleasant topic, but it is what it is. And going through the beginnings of menopause, my weight just ballooned, and then hot flashes started, and I was having like 10 hot flashes an hour. I could barely work. I was so miserable. And I felt so awful because of my weight, because of my hot flashes. I wasn't sleeping. I had a whole bunch of things going on. I would talk to both my doctors, and I would get well, you need to lose weight, move more, eat less. And then as far as the hot flashes, it was, well, that's part of being a woman. You just have to get through it. I really got sick of hearing that answer. And so I just did some searching, and I talked to people at work, and that's when I found Dr. Andre in Bloomington. And he, along with my family, they saved my life. They got me help for my menopause symptoms, and we started working on my weight, and it has been a wonderful journey. I don't think, knowing my family history with strokes and heart problems, I don't know if I could have kept going the way I was going. And this has truly turned it around for me.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate, and honestly, just up until the last couple of years is when I have, I shouldn't say take it serious. I've taken it serious actually since about 2015 when I got really serious about that, Brett, you need to do something about this. You have grandkids, got an amazing wife, daughter, son, and it started affecting me more in my regular life. Unfortunately, my job, it keeps me going. I keep running. We all have excuses, but I'm one of those type of persons where, I'm traveling around the state. I'm trying to, go to a drive-through and eat McDonald's and on the go and do what I can and just don't eat right. Well, finally in 2015, unfortunately, it was actually Black Friday, Thanksgiving evening, getting ready to go out with my sisters, Black Friday shopping, getting the lines. And I wasn't feeling well and had a heart attack. Widowmaker, died. It was a really eye-opener for me, a time in my life where it's like I started thinking about things, and my whole life struggling with my weight, which has caused my diabetes, which has caused so many different things to me, and having that heart attack and getting ready to lose everything, and fortunately, I'm here today, obviously, but it's been a struggle, not only with my weight, obviously, with my diabetes, which unfortunately I let it go too long to where, today I wear an insulin pump. I have to wear my pump, and every single time I eat a crumb, I have to put in my insulin for whatever I eat. I've had, different infections and things like that have caused, from my diabetes, and enough is enough. And so I went to my doctor. My doctor finally, it's like, Brett, if you're serious about this, let's go, because I mean, it's such a roller coaster ride, trying to do different diets like these two are on the stage as well. And it's just always been a struggle. And my doctor finally, I told him, looked him in the eye, I said, Doc, man, we got to get serious about this. He hooked me up with an amazing endocrinologist, and she has been working with me for the last few years. And just until recently, when we really have finally tweaked it in, my health and started feeling good. I mean, I have to wake up every day. I mean, in the morning, once a day I take my Jardiance for my heart, and then on Fridays I take my Mounjaro for my diabetes plus my weight management. I wear my insulin pump. So, I mean, it's an everyday, it's part of my lifestyle now that I have to take the drugs. But thanks to a lot of you out here with science and everything else that I'm able to take to and have access to that medication and be able to be here today and be able to talk about advocacy and things that I've done that's kept me alive. And that's my whole goal today. Is to talk to folks and talk to other folks as much as I can around to advocate more for what we're doing, so to prevent people from what I've had to go through, because it's been tough. I mean, you got grandkids, I got a daughter who's a freshman in college. I've got a son, he's got 3 kids, and it's like, man, I need to be around. I need to be around for these folks. Get serious, Brett. And with my doctors and my wanting to get healthy and wanting to make myself better, and the science that we have today, there's no excuse not to get better. And I've taken advantage of it, and I feel pretty dang good today, and better than I have in quite some time. And hopefully, it'll be more time to come, and I can, help others out along the way. So.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you.
Can I say something? I unfortunately, my insurance won't cover some of the new medications. So my battle with obesity is using generics. So I'm on Topamax and Phentermine, and she has a generic combination of drugs that I'm using. My insurance company won't cover anything else for me. So, it's working for me, which is great, and I love that. But it does give me some fear that at some point in time, how long will it continue to work for me? It's worked great, to be very honest. I'm in the 100-pound club. I want to know where my lapel pin is. I've lost, I don't know, at the max, I lost about 112 pounds. I lost in about 9 months. So it was a pretty dramatic loss. I went 4 months on a very low-calorie, monitored diet, obviously, but it was difficult. But I was pretty motivated. I was really motivated to do it, especially after, losing that first 25, 30 pounds in 30, 45 days. So in 4 months, losing 60 pounds, I could do anything. It was pretty amazing. But it's frustrating though to know that there are all sorts of options that are available out there, and to know that my insurance company won't cover those for me. I was on blood pressure medications. I was on cholesterol drugs. Diagnosed with fatty liver. I'm no longer on any of those meds. I have a relatively clean bill of health, but my insurance company doesn't really recognize that and doesn't see any ties to the obesity and what those drugs are doing for me and the healthy conditions that I'm living with now. That's frustrating.
I can only imagine.
That's frustrating. So.
I want to circle back. So I think there was something that stood out to me. This wasn't in my questions, but the power of sometimes just one person, right, in your journey who sees you, listens to you. And I'm curious if you have sort of faced experiences that are less idyllic than that, because in my experience, people can know, people meaning physicians, nurses, other healthcare professionals, can really understand obesity and still have no understanding about how to talk about obesity with patients, right? These are two very different skill sets. And so I'm curious if you guys have faced that sort of bias or stigma in the medical setting and what that did to you in your journey.
I would say there's definitely a bias in the medical community, because I really feel when you come in as a heavier patient, sometimes maybe some of your symptoms of other things just aren't taken as seriously. I used to be on 2 medications for my blood pressure. I've been able to get off one of my medications. But even trying to get off my medication, I was so proud of myself for being able to lose weight and being able to get off one of those medications. It was still kind of like, yeah, you're still on one medication though. And I was like, I know, but I can do it. I can get off that medication. But I think the medical community as a whole, they kind of sometimes just don't listen to you. When you say, I want help with something, it's kind of just like, okay, we'll just do this and see ya. And I think that's been a struggle for all of us. I think we all have that struggle where if you're asking for help, I think you really need to listen to your patient when they say, we want help, and dig a little deeper and see what you can do to offer that help.
Yes, yes.
I hate my internist. I still go to him. I haven't seen him for probably 3 or 4 years. I go to my nurse practitioner because I adore her. She's the one who's responsible for directing me to Dr. Whitney Blakely at Community, who's the bariatric specialist that is currently, I'm under her care, who I adore. She's amazing. I still see her on a quarterly basis. She understands that obesity is a chronic disease. She will continue to help me with pharmaceuticals as long as I need them. She knows that at some point there will be probably a need for a change or a shift or a plateau. I hope not, but she will continue to treat me. So she's been a true champion. I mean, she calls me her poster child. I mean, I lost over 30% of my body weight. That's amazing. But you know, my internist, I really, it's probably just lazy that I haven't looked for somebody else. He lives in our neighborhood. I've taken up walking. I walked 7 to 10 miles a day. Last year I walked about 3,100 miles. This year I had a goal of 33. I'll fall short of that, but thank you. I see him when I'm out walking, and I just wonder what's in his head, what he's thinking about. I know he sees me and recognizes me. I mean, you can't look at me and see a guy who's lost 100 pounds, who's your patient. He's never once said anything to me. He's never looked at me walking by and said, Brad, good job. Hey, it's great to see you out here walking like this. You look great. Nice work. Not one time. I mean, that just is, yeah.
The power of what people say or don't say.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's the message here. I'll go to you, Brett, but I'm a psychologist, so I'm going to ask these questions, but I'm just curious, what is the struggle that you have around either self-doubt or sort of negative self-talk? Like, what are you still struggling with? Even though, obviously, you're in your treatment path, you're feeling good, I can hear your gratitude for being alive, number one, but being able to share your story. What do you still struggle with? And obviously, only what feels safe here in this audience.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of things I still struggle with. I mean, nothing's perfect. But just to kind of go back real quick to the doctors, I just want to, my doctor has been an amazing family physician for me. But I think that sometimes doctors, they get into the mode to where there's so many patients that are coming through. But there's so many patients that it's like, okay, write me a script, I'm gonna go do my thing, see you in 6 months or whatever. And I finally told my doctor, I got serious with my doctor and let him know that, I really want some help. And when my doctor realized that is when he got a lot more serious instead of just, okay, Brett, walk more, eat less type thing. And he understood that. And then I got to hand it to him that he really took it to heart that I wanted help and put together, my amazing team with my endocrinologist, my heart doctor, and everybody else. So I do want to say that that's somebody in my life that has really helped out. But you got to want to be able to do that and let people know that you want to do that in order for that to happen. Yeah, I mean, there's many struggles still to this day. I mean, I mean, even up here on the stage, it's like, are you guys looking, with my belly over my belt, my belt bucket, my belt buckle here? I mean, it's still, it's every day, and it's tough. I mean, sometimes when you go into, not as much now since I have lost weight, and I'm not down as much as Brad, but in the last year and a half or so, I'm down about 40 pounds. And, but, still when you go into, I'm at work and I'm going into one of my companies or whatever that I work with, and they're throwing, t-shirts out to everybody, and, they got larges and extra larges and everything. It's like, oh, well, at one point in time, it's like, I needed a 2XL or I needed a 3XL, and they didn't have those, some things like that sometimes you struggle with. It's like, because of my weight, it's things that consciously, it really messes with you. And until you go through the struggle and until you go through the disease of obesity, which it is a disease, is you don't think about those kind of things. It's just little quirks that you think about at times where, you don't have that self-confidence in yourself that you still have today. I mean, mentally, it does. Mentally, it messes with folks. And that's another thing that in what I do is I work in the union industry, and I work with a lot of my building and construction trades. And a lot of my members that are out in the field stuff have mental issues, the same thing. They're going through these issues. And I want to advocate and help them because I'm living it. I'm living it every day. I have a pulpit now, and I want to help people like that that are living it because I know firsthand how they struggle with that and how you still have that on the back of your mind, whether you're walking in the room and you think that somebody's looking at you, or you're walking on an airplane, it's like, man, I hope this guy doesn't sit next to me. And I mean, you still have those things that are in the back of your mind that is a struggle. And to this day, I still have it. And I'm hoping that, we can, help other people, overcome those struggles and the mental health issues that come along with it as well. Because, I mean, just the littlest things you wouldn't think that it would bother somebody, but it does, and it makes it tough mentally for folks.
Kelly, how about for you?
I think being so self-conscious, like you said, is a big one. I don't think I could have done this a couple years ago. I would have been so embarrassed of my size. My heaviest, I was 257, and I just felt so embarrassed by that. I wouldn't even let my husband know my weight. That was kind of a big joke with us, but I would always hide my weight from him because I was just so embarrassed by it. So I think, and even today, I still think when we fly somewhere, I still have that. And is this person going to hate sitting next to me? And I have to think, I don't have that issue right now. I'm not to say that I'll never gain weight again or I'll always be this size, but you get so used to thinking in a certain way that when you don't have that problem or that issue, it's still there. It's the strangest thing. I used to also get self-conscious in restaurants. Like, I have to find something really small, or I have to find something that doesn't look like it's got a lot of calories because people are going to walk by me and judge me because of what I'm eating. And now I don't have that issue, but with the medication, I really don't feel like eating that much anymore. So that's a plus as well.
Mm-hmm. Brad, how about for you?
I still have that issue. I didn't have a cookie at lunch. I wanted a cookie, but I didn't have one. And I don't know who the hell's idea it was to have those big, fluffy carbs at breakfast. Why the hell do you guys serve biscuits at an obesity conference? I mean, come on. Yeah, I mean, I struggle with all sorts of things. I mean, I still have body body image issues. You know, I'm not comfortable with the way I look. I still want to lose more weight. I would love to be under 200 pounds. I fluctuate now between 225 and 230. You know, I weigh myself every day, and I get frustrated if the scale is above 230. But you know, in reality, you know, what's a pound after losing 100, right? But I still want to lose more, and that's going to be a struggle to do that. I know what I have to do to make that happen, but it will continue to be a challenge. But it's always there. It's eating at me. It's always in the back of my head. So yeah, it's always there.
Sometimes I talk to patients about there's two separate journeys we're on here, really, right? We're working on weight management, which is really all about the numbers. And then we're working on the mental journey, which is dealing with the internalized weight bias, which is this belief that what society tells us about people living with obesity, that they have less willpower, less self-control, they're lazy, maybe stupid. And people internalize that about themselves, even when, you know, you sort of also know that maybe we're smart and good family members and friends and community members. We have these sort of two roles. And so I think there's like two journeys going on. And so I'm curious, when you think about internalized weight bias, which is this belief that you're less than because of your weight, has that been something you've struggled with?
Yeah, I definitely have struggled with that. The weight bias is, I'd like to think that it will maybe never, I won't say that it will never go away. I'd like to think that it will reduce, but it's still there in the back of your head. I just think you always think of that people are looking at you and judging you and thinking that, well, look at that person. Look, she's so overweight. She shouldn't be doing that or doing this. And it's a very difficult thing to get your brain wrapped around.
Yes.
I struggle with that quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. And there's so many different things though that you can do to overcome the whole bias and the whole stigma.
Yeah,
and,
let's talk about that.
And yeah, I mean, and there's so many different things that you can do. Like, you know, I'm fortunate where, you know, here lately, I've been working with Lily, putting together a toolkit to go out to my members and use my pulpit to talk to my members and talk to them about the you know, the bias and the stigma and everything about obesity and more education and things about it. So it's definitely an issue, and it's an issue that we need to address. And that's something that I'm fortunate that I'm able to actually start going out now and addressing that issue.
Yeah, I struggle with it personally. I mean, I just can't leave this room, okay? Becky, I love you. My daughter is a stout girl. I will use it that way. And she is of the age where she's okay being stout. Is that a good way to put it? You were talking about this earlier. And she's proud. She has no problem with her body image. She's okay. She's, you know, I would love to see her lose some weight. But is that a bias of mine? Is that me saying I want her to lose weight? She's healthy. She's very healthy. She was a swimmer for, you know, 12, 13, 14 years. She swam in college. She's put on some weight, but she's still very healthy. She still works out. But I'd love to see her lose some weight. I don't say anything to her about it. If I did, she would knock me out. So I personally struggle with some of that bias even.
Yes.
And even more so now that I have lost weight. So I personally am challenged with some of that bias.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And one of the things I think about a lot is how we talk to healthcare providers about their bias. But the truth is, as patients, we have bias too. And often it's the same bias, right? So we think, well, if I just tried harder, I could lose weight. Or what's wrong with me that I can't just lose weight? Or all these other things. And so it's not like it's just you on that side of this podium that have the bias, right? We have it too. So what we're trying to do is change the perceptions for all of us. And sitting up here and telling your story is one way to do that. So I want to end on some more positive, uplifting things. And we talk to doctors a lot about getting the focus off just the number on the scale, right, to more total health markers and so forth. And sometimes in our behavioral health world, we talk about non-scale victories. So things that don't have anything to do with the weight or even sometimes your blood pressure numbers. But what are some of the victories that you are experiencing now in this phase of your treatment and your journey that you'd like to share?
Well, I think for me, a medical one that it's still related to weight, but I just had some blood work done, and my kidney function has improved significantly, which I wasn't really expecting, but it has improved quite a bit. I know I also had a fatty liver. Unfortunately, my liver enzyme panel did not get run like I wanted it to, so I'm not sure about that. But those were some, I feel, non-scale victories. But something else, and this is going to seem really silly, but it used to be, I know everybody shops online now, everybody goes to Amazon or whatever and gets their clothes, but once in a while it's nice to go in and try things on. I would head straight to the plus size section every time, just walk right in, plus size, plus size. And of course it's ironic, the plus size section is always way smaller than the regular size section. Well, now I find myself forcing myself to go to the regular size section where there's so many more choices. And this seems kind of silly or not that important, but the choices that I have now when I go just to a clothing store, it's amazing. I hadn't realized the change or the difference that was there until I could start shopping in that section of clothing stores.
Thank you for sharing that.
Go ahead.
Mine's probably walking, I guess. I found a love for walking, and not even that, but I call it slogging. It's kind of a slow jog, slog. And I do it every day. Up until last week, I had some shin splints, which I still have, but I had walked every day for almost 320 days and not missed a day. I love it. It's become an obsession, hiking, walking, whatever it is, just getting outside. It's my me time. I do like walking with other people, but they typically slow me down because I'm walking a 15, 30 mile or so. So most people aren't. I mean, my wife likes to go with me, but she says I walk too fast. So I'll usually walk a couple of miles with her and then take her back to the house and drop her off, and then I'll go out for a while longer. And the jogging started because, to do 7 or 8 miles, it takes you a couple hours. So I needed to make it happen faster, so I started jogging a little bit. But yeah, I've got a newfound hobby and
time with your wife.
Session and some time with my wife. So.
I haven't really, been honestly passionate about exercise. I know a lot of us struggle with that. It's like, New Year's, I'm going to buy a new, treadmill, and I'm going to have my New Year's resolution and do this and start, walking 2 miles a day. And Brad, I wish I could do what you do. I come up with excuses all the time. Well, I don't have time. And it's just a matter of trying to force yourself to do something like that. But I do pride myself because I do. If I go to the grocery store, I make sure I park farther so I can walk more. If I when I come in, go somewhere, instead of taking the elevator, I'll take the steps. That makes me feel good when I do that. At least I'm getting some exercise in. I know that I'm early in my stages where I'm trying to get better, and I know that's something that will come more for me. I just don't have that passion for it yet, but I know that it'll come. I mean, I have grandkids now that are, the youngest is 5, the oldest is 9, so starting to chase them around a lot more and everything. That gives me an excuse for more exercise, even more so. But I need to work more. I'm guilty on walking and doing a lot more of that as time comes. But
So we only have a few minutes left. If there's one thing you could tell the people sitting in this room, right? We have healthcare providers, policymakers, just scientists, just such a cool variety of people listening. If there's one thing you could tell them, what would it be?
Well, for me, it would be if you have something about yourself that is really bothering you, that you brought up to your doctor and you've brought up to your nurse practitioner or whoever, and you don't feel like you're getting answers or you're getting the help that you want, keep trying. Because it took me a long time to find someone that would actually listen to me and who actually did help me. Just don't give up. Take your own health into your own hands and just really push. Really push for that. If this is something that you want to change about yourself, do not give up. Just keep trying.
I think advocate. When it comes to, I think everybody needs to come to the table. Our doctors, our pharmaceutical companies, our PBMs, the pharmaceutical, your Walgreens and your Walmarts, and let's bring everybody to the table, the employers, and let's talk about this. Let's talk about this chronic disease that people have instead of just looking over it and making it, it's like cancer, it's diabetes, it's something that needs to be addressed every single day within the workplace. Sorry, that's my insulin pump going off. My phone is on silent. But that's something that needs to be done. And I have a passion for that, and I think we can get that done. It was great to see Cinder Young here today. I saw Cinder Good out there, and I've been working with Representative Shackelford, one of our state representatives here in Indianapolis, to all come together and come to the table with employers and make sure that we make things make the drugs affordable so that you don't have to get just the generic ones, that you can have access to the name brand ones that we know that work, that are helping, that are saving lives like myself. And I'm more fortunate than others because of what I do for a living, working with the different unions and being able to sit at the table and negotiate and work with my employers. But we need to do more of that. We need to do more of that. If we bring everybody together, we can do this. We can eat away, no pun intended, at obesity, and it'll work. It's just sitting down together and working and being passionate about it and working, like I said, with our elected officials and our doctors and everybody, and we can do this. We can defeat this, and I think everybody in this room are the ones that can do that. Yes. Since we're getting close to closing, also, thank you all in this room. Whether you're a scientist, whether you're a doctor, whatever the case may be, thank you for what you've done. Because people like me, I'm able to hang out with my grandkids and do things that I want to do and live a longer life because of what you all have done. Whether you're sitting there, coming up with new drugs for tomorrow or the next day, or whatever the case may be. So thank you for what you all do for folks like us.
Well, he stole my thunder. That's where I was going to go. So everything that they said, but I sat here this morning and was simply in awe of the presentations and the science and hearing the history of where this has all come from diabetes and insulin and where the background was and the amount of the research and the patents and everything that's there. I'm privy to some of the new research that's going on and some of the things that are happening. And I just want you to know that what you're doing matters. It matters to people's lives, and it's important. So you're saving lives. You're making a difference for people, and thank you for doing that.
And so are all of you, okay? This is the honor of my life. I get to sit at this table up here next to the president of Lilly USA, and still my biggest honor is sitting here next to people who are willing to share their stories. And For those of you that might not know this, for most of these people, this is their very first time sharing their personal journey. And what an amazing experience. So thank you all so much. I am honored.
Thank you.